I think the explanation is fear. Experience shows that if you frighten people enough, they will submit to anything. And really that is what happened with COVID. This is a change in our tolerance of risk. 100 years ago, we had a much more serious pandemic than this. 50 years ago, we had a pandemic which was slightly less serious, but which we had fewer medical means of dealing with. We didn't panic. We didn't lock people down. We didn't impose these kinds of restrictions. And it seems to me that the change that has come about is that we have become too risk averse. And to avoid risk, which is actually part of human life, we have allowed governments to do what they want with widespread public support. What democracy and what freedom depends on is a culture of restraint, which is something that there's a sentiment that there are certain lengths to which you should not go simply because it works. Once you breach these limits, once the unspoken rule of restraint is junked, the spell has gone. Mm-hmm. The limit is no longer there. There's no longer the force of sentiment that stops people behaving in this way. So I'm very much afraid that if this were to happen again, the same fear would enable governments to do exactly the same thing. What will, I think, deter them next time is that we are now becoming much more conscious of the simply enormous collateral cost. The cost in terms of mental health, the cost in terms of education, the cost in terms of social dislocation, and the sheer financial cost, which in many countries has brought the public finances close to bankruptcy. I think that was something that we didn't take into account at the beginning of the last pandemic, but we're hardly going to be able to ignore it in the next one.